welcome back to the Backyard Professor Chess videos. You guys ready to chessercise? Alright, we gotta limber up and do some stretching. Not exercise, chessercise. We're gonna work out our brain today. I have a really fun chessercise for you. This is a game that Capablanca played against Steiner. It was in Los Angeles in 1933. It was a live person chess game. And they say they had a lot of fun with it, where they worked with live people as the chess pieces. This game is just fabulous. I found this and I thought, man, I am going to show this game as a chessercise. This will be a fun one to do as a chessercise, because it is so breathtakingly spectacular, as typical of Alekin, right? Or not Alekin, Capablanca. Yeah, when I think Capablanca, I think Alekin, of course, because of their phenomenal chess match for the World Championship so many years ago. Now you notice something interesting here. This is a very symmetrical game so far. Black is simply repeating what Capablanca is doing. He's thinking, hey, if I can imitate him, I can beat him, right? Andy Soltis, in his book Chess to Enjoy, has a whole bunch of these kind of games that are really kind of fun. This was sort of a popular way to play chess in the late 1800s and early 1900s. There were quite a few people who did a symmetrical copycat type moves like this. Pawn, queen, 3, pawn, queen, 3. Bishop, knight, 5. And now finally, at move 7, the bishop takes the knight. And the pawn takes the bishop. So, let's look at the board, because now something has changed. It's no longer symmetrical, and hence we have some imbalances. A chessercise always analyzes the board, right? For imbalances, for weaknesses, for differences, for tactics, for plans and long-term strategy. This is how we exercise our chess minds, right? White has the 2 bishops now, because of the way this was done. Black has the knights. And there's a... oh, that went crooked, didn't it? There's no open files yet. The one knight. The center is somewhat... it's got a lot of pawns. It's not locked, though. There is potential to open up the center. And we do have a file here, but black hasn't occupied the file yet, or white, I mean, and white has the doubled pawns, whereas black does not have any doubled pawns. There's virtually no weaknesses in black's side, and there's virtually no weaknesses in white's side either, except for this c3 pawn, because it's the lead double pawn. That can potentially become a target. This bishop's a little loose. There's nothing guarding this bishop. So this is an interesting imbalance. This shows us that we are paying attention to the details of the chessboard, because it does make a difference. Knight now drops back to king 2. He doesn't want his knight taken. Knight comes over here to rook 4. So you can see Capablanca starting to go toward the king side. And now pawn bishop 3. Doggone it, come on, stay up there, pal. Pawn goes to b3, or pawn comes to bishop 3 to challenge the bishop. And bishop drops back to bishop queen 4. Bishop queen bishop 4. This was in an old descriptive game of chess, so I wrote it down that way. Bishop comes up here to king 3 to challenge the bishop here now. Now notice, white has a very bad bishop, but he has put it on the outside of the pawn chain, so it's very useful. Black brought his good bishop out. He's got the bad bishop as the dark squared, but it's gone. So he's got his good bishop out, and he's challenging White's bad bishop. This isn't quite the correct way to do this, right? Well, the bishop takes the knight here, and what begins to happen here very interestingly is pawn takes the bishop, and we see the beginning of the prying open of the black king side, don't we? Now, the bishop takes the bishop. He certainly wants to exchange his bad bishop here, right? And now you notice the other pawn on the king side takes the bishop. So he's got a great row of pawns plus a doubled central pawn that is blocked. Now this can become a weakness. This can become an error because this is going to cramp black. In this instance, White's pawns are not a weakness, but black pawns in the center like this that are stopped, those are a weakness. Because black can't coordinate himself as well as White can now. And black's king is starting to open up here. And this can be dangerous if you're playing Capablanca, and Steiner unfortunately is playing Capablanca here, right? Ha! Queen pops right up here. Knight, queen, knight, 4, check. Absolutely, that open file, use it. So the king hops over here to b2. Now the center is somewhat clogged, so Capablanca is going to the king side where he has the most space. The pawn pointing rule points to the king side. He has more space, so he's going to come to this king side. This is perfectly logical chess. This is the beauty of chessercising, to watch how the grandmasters play this game. It's phenomenal to do. This is some of the best ways to learn how to play chess. Shut up and move, dude. Pawn king 4. King bishop 4, I should say. He's expanding on the king side, where he belongs. He's also challenging the center pawn. He's going to try to open up the center a little bit more. And he's going to try to get to the king at all costs, right? King Rook comes to knight 1 to directly challenge the lovely lady for a dance. But she is being kind of a snobby woman. She doesn't want to dance. She wants to get the king. Check. So the king comes back over here to knight 2. He's playing hard to get also. He doesn't want to dance with this wench because she is really starting to bug him. She's getting in his space, see? This is not a very good relationship at this point. Pawn takes the pawn, getting rid of the center, breaking it down. Queen pawn takes the pawn, and now comes the lightning bolt. Boink. Wow. Watch. Capablanca has a file, and he uses it to further open up the king. Now this makes sense because his queen is right here, his knight is right here, so it makes sense to further open up the king, right? And you say, however, the king took the rook. All the rook got was a pawn. Materially, yes. But positionally, Capablanca has great compensation. So if you don't understand that, watch this video a few times to see the logistics of this. It's beautiful how he does this. Let's examine the board. Look at the differences. Look at the weaknesses. Look at the pieces. Look at the options. What do you see? Your eye should immediately beeline up right there. That king is wide open. That's an invitation. Now you do everything you can to get that king. Watch what Capablanca does. Can you guess? You can see it. I know you can see it. Don't lie to me and tell me you can't see it. Watch. He's not doing anything, is he? Well, usually the winners of chess games use their entire army. Have you noticed that theme in several of these Chessercises I'm doing? Pow! Check! Of course! It's beautifully logical. It's phenomenally logical. Look at this chessboard. Do you see a very interesting imbalance? I'm going to show you two imbalances that are critical. Number one, black has 4 powers. White only has 3. What's the difference in this game? White has the initiative. Now, the initiative is calling the shots. White is dictating the tempo of this game. When white moves, black responds to white. White has the objective. White has the files. White has the plan. Black is not even developed fully yet. His 2 most powerful pieces haven't even gotten into this game yet. Black is behind in material, but his position is superior, and he is dictating the tempo of this game. This is fabulous to see how he takes control. Right? Well, the knight comes to bishop 4 to block the rook in check. The knight takes the knight. Good night. On a beautiful outpost on the f5 square, even though it's protected, Capablanca took that knight anyway, because he is going to keep the initiative. Capablanca doesn't want Steiner to bring out his queen and his other rook, so he is keeping the pressure on. That's called the initiative. Well, of course, pawn takes the knight. Now look at this. Capablanca only has 2 pieces. 2 powers. Steiner has 3 of them, and his king is right out here in the middle. What an anomaly, huh? Is that fun to see or what? Rook takes the pawn. On the outpost with the queen. Check. This king is getting Chessercised, isn't he? Or is he checker-sized? Well, the king pops back to king 2 and he says, man, I have got to get out of here. Queen comes over to bishop 7. Hello, darling, give me a smooch. The king says, blech, no thanks. I'm getting out of here, man. The rook comes up to bishop 6. Check. The king comes up to bishop 4. Notice how white is using his files, his ranks to get to this king. And notice that Steiner still hasn't been given a chance to bring out the rest of his army. Capablanca's not stopping here and starting to push a pawn or move his king. He's got an objective and he's going after it in a logical, powerful fashion. Queen comes here to take the knight pawn. Now finally, Steiner has a chance to get his lady into the game, so he brings the queen over to here. What do you think Capablanca's going to do now? He's got all the initiative. He's calling all the shots. This rook is going to be no good anymore. This rook never even gets to play in this game. He's the fuddy-dud that gets to stay home. Rook takes the pawn. Check. What a fascinating fork, huh? Well, can you see what Steiner's going to do? Duh. Queen takes the rook. Uncheck. And now Capa goes right to b4. Checkmate. Is that one of the funnest, interesting games you've ever seen? This teaches us again, as with lifting weights over and over and over again, the same type of exercises in order to strengthen our muscles, we play over and over and over again various hundreds of Grandmaster games, and we begin to see patterns. And when we can imitate these patterns, we improve our chess play. This is the pure value. Every Grandmaster game is a chess lesson for us. We saw how he utilized his files. We saw how he used his entire army. And we saw how he came to the 7th and 6th ranks and flushed the king out to checkmate him. So that's the Chessercise for today. Thanks for watching the videos. And happy checkmating and happy Chessercising. And I will see you in the next video.